Welcome to Rock and Blues Review. We have been to the UK, we've been to Sweden, we've been to Ireland, and today we're headed to Malta. So today's guest is Ben Bailey of Vinyl Paradise, described as a dynamic blues rock power trio from Malta. Welcome, Ben Bailey.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
It's my pleasure. You guys are coming to Canada and
Yeah.
specifically right near me um, at Taps Brew House on Queen Street on June 5th, and it's in support of Autism Ontario.
Yeah.
You came to my attention through their station that I'm broadcasting for, 4680Q. So how did this trip come about for you?
Well, the trip came about. Originally, we met a wonderful booking agent and friend, Deshaun Jones from TaylorMade. He came to Malta for uh, another project he was involved in, and we just so happened to be putting on a show at that time, a little sort of beginning of the year show. March in Malta isn't very busy, so we thought we'd put a little ticketed event together at a little jazz dive bar. And just as coincidence would have it, he walked in, he loved the band, and he said, "Hey, man, you guys would absolutely kill it, in Canada way. We love that sort of thing. Let me get booking." And we've heard that a few times from other people.
Right.
The only difference with Deshaun is when he says it will happen, it happens, which is a fantastic quality. Um, yeah, and so we actually came out there last September. We came out and played the Niagara Grape and Wine Festival. And while we were out there, we played a couple of wonderful events for the Maltese community as well, and they were wonderful. Um, and yeah, after playing that and that fantastic experience, we just got booking. When could we come back? And we found the right shows in the right places, and really very happy to be stopping by Taps again because we actually popped by there just on a night out between gigs, and we thought it was a lovely venue full of wonderful people, and when Deshaun mentioned, "Hey, Taps would have you for this event," I thought fantastic. We really want to go back there. We want to see those people again. So to play there is even better.
Yeah. So Deshaun was there when you came to Canada the first time.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I was going to ask about that because the grape and wine is can be a very big deal. Did you have a good time there?
Oh my God, we had a fantastic time. Fantastic time. We've uh we still can't really believe that we did it because the whole experience, not just the performance, the performance was fantastic as well. Um I heard that we were the first international band or band from abroad there in however many years, and that was a wonderful honor. But then the fantastic organization and organizers there they treated us so 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 well. I mean, the treatment alone is reason enough to come back. We felt wonderful.
Yeah, that helps. And I just mentioned that you will be on CHCH TV the morning of June 5th, and then
Mm,
you're in Toronto on June 6th, and the Orangeville Blues and Jazz Festival on the 7th, and that could
yeah.
be a very big deal too. You haven't done that before,
No, no, we haven't played the Orangeville Blue. The only venue we've visited before and performed at is Gabby's in Toronto,
right?
which was also it's a running theme. It was a fantastic time. Everywhere we went in Canada, we had a great time. The Orangeville Blues and Jazz Festival is something we're really excited about too. Obviously, being a dedicated blues and jazz festival, you're playing to fans of the genre, and that's always better.
Right. So you haven't been to the US at all?
No, no, we haven't yet, though we'd really like to.
So let me ask you this: does Malta have a blues society per se?
A very small one, of which the three of us make up quite a big part. So, um, but it's growing. I think I don't know if it's because we've roped them in or they've discovered it on their own, probably some combination of the two. But there's been quite a resurgence, especially among younger people of like blues music and sometimes branching out to that sort of 70s rock thing, Zeppelin and all that kind of thing, which is all very much rooted in blues.
Right.
Um, but we're very being a small place, Malta, it's a very tight musical community of all genres, right? Even though they separate into respective layers, really. Everyone sort of knows each other. And I'm definitely of the opinion that, if there are two blues bands out there, but that's twice the net you're casting, to create sort of fanfare about the genre. So I'm really excited when I see more people picking up blues guitar or blues music, or you see the Instagram profiles and they're calling themselves, blues guitarist. You go, yeah, that's cool. I like the label. It's cool.
Right. I'm going to come back to that. But
Sure.
the reason I brought it in the first place is because uh, the International Blues Challenge in Memphis, have you heard of it?
No, but that sounds great.
You should definitely get in on it. So it's
Cool.
huge. It's huge. It's in Memphis every year,
Hmm.
um, early in the year. And what happens is blues bands from all over the world come to compete. Largely American, Canadian, but they do come from everywhere. And they absolutely love to have new societies show up. So if Malta had one and sent you guys, they would love to have you. And it's just for the connections alone. I mean, you meet everyone, the top guys, the best radio guys, and it has to be a competition. So
Hmm.
you have to win your society. If it's as small as you say, then you guys will have a fantastic shot at it. Uh, but I would, so it's called the IBCs in Memphis. I would definitely look that up. And like I said, they absolutely love to have different societies. When we were there, we've seen Asian and, Swedish,
Yeah,
Czechoslovakian. They love it. So I would definitely pursue that if I was you.
great. Yeah, I've taken note. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at it.
So let's get back to some of the Canadian gigs. Are, are you hoping that it will grow here too? And what's it like to travel so far? It's got to cost you money. It's got to be a little taxing.
Yeah, with uh when it comes to traveling so far, um it can be an expense. It can be, obviously, it's taxing on the body, like traveling. It's about 10 hours of travel for us. First we have to fly to Germany, and then we can, or England, or the Netherlands, but we've been going through Germany. And it's like 2 hours there, then 8 hours over to Canada. Which, I think part of that, the toll it takes on your body, is offset by the excitement of what we're about to do. Yes, and it is something we want to grow, even though it does take the travel. Primarily the desire to have it grow is naturally, as any band wants to grow. I don't know of any band that wants to remain, at the level they're at. Everyone wants to grow. But it's also, if we can create enough buzz about us over there that we can stay for longer stints, it's always going to be better, seeing as we're making that trip out there. If we get to stay for a week, 2 weeks, or however long it may be, that always makes it more worthwhile. Um, we've been very fortunate. We've had the wonderful support from Malta's Arts Council. They have an arts council here, which is all about taking care of artists, and they do have programs that help artists get abroad, for promotional things like we're doing. So they helped us out for 2025, 2026, and that has definitely made it possible for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got a jazz festival, July 6th to 11th. Is that strictly jazz?
Yeah, the jazz festival is strictly jazz. It is definitely, uh, I've watched, God, I've gone and watched quite a few bands, and it's a jazz purist festival. It's a fantastic festival, really beautiful,
Hmm.
and some really notable people have come and played. A couple of years back, I think Michael League of Snarky Puppy was here. Um, we had there's another guy escaping me. I saw him, funnily enough, at the jazz bar that we played and met Deshaun at. Um, but it's really quite a cool thing. It's quite a cool thing.
Yeah. Now, it sounds like your Blue Society would go well too. Um, so let's talk about your bandmates. Tell us about
Yeah.
them because we talked about travel and
Hmm.
sometimes that's difficult with other people.
It can be, but we don't seem to have a. We've got a funny relationship, as we are. there are three of us, and that's always easier to manage, three people. And we've known each other for a long time now. I'm quite a bit younger than the guys, and I met them when I was 18. I was playing guitar in a guitar shop because I didn't have a good guitar of my own. So I'd go there to play, and I'd tell them, "Hey, I'm just here to play some guitar, to buy a guitar." And I wasn't, but they let me play. And a guy who heard the sort of bluesy thing I was doing said, "I know some guys would really like to work with you, and they need a guitar player." And it was a band called the Creepers. And Antoine and Patrick, my bandmates, were the bassist and drummer, respectively, for that band. And at the time, there was another front man named Sven, and I joined that band, and we played together in that format for a while. Then, we had some change ups and so on. And at one point, the front man wouldn't be able to commit, and Antoine brought it up. He's the one that said, "Hey, Ben, you sing. Why don't we form a trio?" So Vinyl Paradise formed due to him. But traveling with, we've known each other for quite a long time, and from the very get go, we've always we make sure that our decisions are made not democratically. It's always unanimous. It has to be the three of us are happy with what's going on. Doesn't matter if it's a cover or it's something we're writing or a photo shoot. If the three of us aren't happy, it doesn't float. So that philosophy has held us in good stead. So um, I think the only complaint about traveling is if we sleep in the same room together. Antoine snores quite a bit, and he does keep us up. Sometimes we've had to share like one big room, where budgets have been tight,
Right.
and that is the only hassle. Yeah, I'm sure Antoine won't mind me saying that.
No, that happens for sure.
Yeah,
Um, so you mentioned playing the guitar in the shop, and I notice on your YouTube you're using the Yamaha Pacifica. Is that your weapon of
yeah,
choice?
that's my weapon. It's right here, my number one. It goes everywhere with me. Well, except Canada because I don't want to break it.
Right.
Um, but and I don't trust airlines. Um, but yeah, well, it started because when I was in that shop, the my friend Tony, who handles the guitar section there and takes care of this guitar, noticed I didn't have anything good and handed me that guitar. He said, "What do you think of this?" And I thought, "Wow, well, I connected immediately." And with that, with I sort of just became a Yamaha guy. You know what I mean? Like I've always found that it hasn't let me down. If something breaks, it's so quickly replaceable. So I'm a stickler for something being reliable. I like the sort of Toyota.
Right. Right.
The sort of you can find the parts everywhere, and it's rarely going to break down.
Right. So you also mentioned the name change
Yeah,
when you form the trio. So where did that name come from? Was that vinyl your medium of preference?
yeah. Well, it's sort of we wanted something to do with we wanted to show the sort of um, not the genre necessarily that we were playing or pointing out. We wanted to emphasize the sort of era we looked at for inspiration, and it was the sort of era of everything being pressed to vinyl. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at, you know, anywhere from the late 50s to the sort of early 70s is our bracket of like musical taste. Vinyl Paradise is sort of what we decided sounded best at the time, and I did um, I did doubt the name for a bit until meeting someone. I don't want to name drop, but somebody that
Oh,
is
go
worthy of
ahead.
a lot of.
Go
No,
ahead.
no. We met Terry Brown, the producer for Rush, and
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and he we didn't even mention the name. He brought it up and said, I really like the name of your band," and that sealed it for us. That's like, okay, that's cool. It's a cool name then. Yeah,
Oh, that's good. So you were born in Australia.
yeah,
So
yeah.
give us a quick history of you. How'd you get there? How'd you get into the blues in the first place? When did your music start?
Wow. Okay. Um, I'm Australian born and raised to an English mum and Maltese, sorry, English dad and Maltese mum. So I've been sort of moving around the three countries all my life. So my earliest memories, in fact, are in England. I lived there till I was about seven, and then we came back to Malta for just a couple of years. Came back to Australia, um, and back to Malta. So been moving around quite a bit. Um, I wasn't musical up until I was about 9 or 10. I actually really liked tennis, to be honest, was my thing. Um, but one year, my brother, who's quite a lot older than me, bought me Guitar Hero, the video game, and I fell so deeply in love with not the because obviously Guitar Hero's playing the game. It's very little to do with actually playing the guitar, apart from the posture and the guitar-shaped controller. But oh my, I fell in love with this thing. I when I wasn't playing it, I was like 9 years old. Even when I wasn't playing it, I was holding the guitar-shaped controller. Something about it made me feel so, I don't know, just made everything feel possible. And then a teacher at my school started offering um, lessons. Mr. Ian Barker, my God, I really need to send him a message and tell him like you started something unstoppable, you know. Um, and he's a fantastic blues player himself. So unbeknownst to me, he was teaching me the blues from day dot, you know, and he found I had a knack for it. And yeah, so I'd say about 10, I started playing the guitar, and the thing is, I did pick up that style of music fairly quickly because my dad had raised me on a steady diet of Eric Clapton, J.J. Cale, Tracy Chapman, even a lot of these artists that have that blues vein running through it. And then, you know, when I discovered B.B. King and Freddie King and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Johnny Winter, you know, it, you know, that was it. That was it for me. I fell in love.
Well, that is cool. And you also mentioned earlier when you started the trio that you started the singing. When did you realize that you were a good singer?
Well, I don't think I've realized. I still don't think I've realized I'm a good singer. I sing well enough to get through a gig and an album recording, but it was my dad, and I actually really vividly remember we were listening. We were in the living room. It was after school, just listening to a Queen album he had, and it was a crazy little thing called Love came on, and that's actually quite a sort of bluesy, jaunty tune anyway, as far as Queen songs go. And I remember we were sort of, I was playing my guitar along to it, and sort of he was drinking his coffee, and we are sort of jamming to it in a way. He's not a musician, but he loves music, you know, he loves music. And yeah, he's the one that said, "You can sing this, can't you?" And that was it. It was done. And actually, no, tell a lie. Then I believe he said something to the along the lines of, you know, if you want to be the front man of a band, you got to sing. And that was about it. Yeah.
Right. That's an interesting point because a lot of good guitarists, really good guitarists, don't sing.
Mm.
So, did that ever occur to you that you would just play?
Well, I do just play for like a dozen other bands, you know. So I'm
Uh,
like I'm a session guitar player. I play in pop, rock, you know, everything bands, you know, folk bands. The odd jazz gig, even though I'm not really a jazz player, I can fake a few licks. But they haven't spotted me as an imposter just yet, so that's fine. Um, but yeah, when it came to singing, I have a really particular sort of voice, you know, like I don't do like notes, if that makes sense. Like it's very much in style for what I do, the sort of blues thing, and I know my lane. In fact, there was a period of time when I was almost a bit not insecure, but a bit shy about my voice. Like, oh, I'm not sure. You know, I've always felt confident with the guitar. Always. The guitar, I've never second guessed myself. I've always gone, yeah, I can do this. I'm good at this. But the voice, you know, I always thought I'm not the greatest on the voice front until one day it sort of just sat with me, which is I'm not a singer who plays guitar. I'm a guitarist who sings. And then I decided that's fine. I'm fine in that lane, you know?
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to say that blues is more forgiving than trying to be Freddie Mercury for sure.
100%. Yeah.
So, and you said staying in your lane, and I think that's really important because uh, a lot of people don't, and you know,
Yeah.
80% of their stuff sounds great, and then that 20% they kind of stray. And that you recognize that, I think, is a good thing. And but then again, got to stretch every now and then, right?
It's a knife's edge, the idea of, because on one side you go, you want to explore new things, you want to try new things. The other side of your brain goes, jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm,
And I do remember a few years ago making that decision, saying I would rather just be really pro at this thing than someone who's passable with many things.
right.
And that might conflict with what I said earlier about being a session guitarist for quite a few people. But the truth is, I'm in a very, very lucky position. I'm so appreciative of the people that I work with, because they've always liked what I bring to the table enough that I don't need to change my spots. They go, yeah, yeah, I like what Ben brings to the sound, rather than can you be more this, be more
Right.
that? Because if that day came, I would crumble. It's like, I'm a specialist at this point. I've really sort of boxed myself in intentionally.
Well, in the blues world, you're young. So how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 28.
Yeah, so you're
Yeah,
very young. So
yeah,
all that stuff is coming. So just get ready for it.
yeah, yeah. That's right.
Now, you've just put out another album. Is it your
Yeah.
second? Because I see that there's a live album and then this new one.
So we've got yeah, that Live at Winehouse is like a 5 song album EP, you'd probably call it. And that was a great project. We had a really fantastic opportunity from a friend of ours, and our friend of the band, who said, "I'll help you like line this up," because we were having, we had lots of ideas, and the direction was, which direction do we go? And when we landed on this idea, we had a friend that was going to help back us up to make it happen. And we recorded these. We had these 5 songs that we just sort of worked on and written, primarily because we were, pardon me, because we were trying to. Uh, a slight tangent here. As a band, we've always liked the idea of a primarily original set with a few covers peppered in.
Mm,
That's a long process to get there, though.
mm,
So we would always write the odd song to just put in the set. It wasn't necessarily for release.
hmm.
And then we thought of these 5 songs, but no, we can release these as a thing and record it live, single takes on camera, so there's no cheating whatsoever. We thought that was important, and that went over well with people. And that rawness, funnily enough, gained us quite a few fans. And we learned at that point, okay, trying to get people to like you by doing that, or by doing that doesn't actually get people to like you as a band or enjoy how you're listening to music. Having something to say is what does that. Having an actual voice, and we found our voice in that. So obviously, we get cracking on writing an album, and we took those 5 songs. I think we picked 4 of them, and a few other songs we had already sort of written to put into our set. And we wrote 6, I think 6 more, and bang, that first album. We still consider that the debut album, the Vinyl Paradise one. I think I've got
Right.
it over my shoulder somewhere.
Right.
Um, and really proud of that. Then the question came, how do we release it? Is it just digital? Do we do CDs?
Mm.
Do we do vinyl? And then we decide, yeah, well, we've named ourselves into a corner now. We have to release it. We either release on vinyl or we do everything except vinyl in some sort of ironic twist. But no,
Yeah.
you know, vinyl was the way. Yeah, and that album was fantastically received. We're so, I mean, we're not talking double platinum or anything when I say fantastically received, but truthfully, the fact that anyone comes forward to say, "Hey, can I have a copy of that?" and when they do, "Hey, can you guys sign it and write a little message on it?" Oh my God, it's very, very touching when it's your own music. Um, the second album, we just received the mixes. I think the day before yesterday, we received the mixes for album 2. We recorded that in March, and we are extremely happy with this. This is a fantastic record. And but like we consider this better than the first, as I think any artist would. Why release it if it isn't? Um, and we put on a little show we put on a little show at the beginning of this year, in March again, when it was a little bit, quiet. And we decided we're going to make this one special. We're going to play some of the songs that we just recorded on the new album, and then we'll never again until like the album comes out, sort of thing. Make it a real like one-off event. And the real, apart from the fact people liked the 3, 4 songs that we played them off the new album, it's the fact that there were people singing along to the songs off the first album, and that was it for me. That was the I couldn't, ask my girlfriend the whole drive home. All I'm telling her is they were singing along to us. How cool is that? Because that was in
Right.
my head, that was in our heads. Now it's a very cool thing, very very cool
Yeah. And you mentioned something that was my next question, and that is your live shows.
thing. Yeah.
How much do you prefer to have original versus cover?
Oh, the excitement of the second album coming out is the fact that we can finally go, there it is, a whole set, all original, you know? Because let's say our typical set is anywhere from 16 to 20 songs. Um, right now we've got the 12 from the first album. We never really do play all 12 though, because over time you sort of find these are the ones we do really well. So we do like a good 8 of them. And then we add the songs from the second album, which I don't think we've like said publicly yet, but this might change, which is why it's risky. But what we have recorded and mixed and is about to be mastered is 13 tracks on this album, so it's going to be a bit of a long album. But that injection of 13 songs um, into the set is just so exciting because, yeah, to your question, I think it's valuable to have original. So I would rather have in a 16 song set, here's like 13 or 14 of what we have to say. And these are a couple of songs that we love so deeply that we want to play them for you.
Right. And I'll just mention that if you do wind up at the International Blues Challenge, they insist on mostly original, but
Perfect.
but it's a good idea to put in one cover because then they have something to gauge to measure you by.
Okay, cool.
So that's just a tip we've learned over the years.
Thank you very much.
And the other thing I was going to talk about the live shows, we ran a blues festival for like 20 years here, and we found there was two distinct groups of people. Those who wanted to hear what they knew, and then there was a
Mhm.
group who wanted to hear only new. Is that something you find everywhere you go?
Um, we've had the experience that we've had is everywhere we go, like we've been leaving the country and playing, uh, maybe only it's only been a few times over the last couple of years. So the funny experience we've found is when we go abroad, we definitely have an easier time with playing new. People are much more willing to hear the new stuff. In Malta, I mean, but this might just be our current experience. This might change. But so far in Malta, there is more of a culture of what you know. Um, the majority of live music played here is still, it's cover band, it's the crowd pleasers one
Mm.
after the other. It's what what you almost jokingly call like wedding band bingo. Sometimes it's like, yeah, that song, that song, that song, that song. But if the objective is get everyone off their seats, drink in hand, falling over, having a great time, you, you can't go wrong just playing hits. I mean, no band can actually do that. I don't think even the Stones could go up there and play um, a show of all hits that's just their own songs.
Mm.
So, um, and, I don't want to say that has made us a little bit jaded about playing covers, but it definitely made us more sort of it made us more enthusiastic about playing original. It's like, we feel that if you can get that crowd going with your material, there's a sort of it's a cut above. It's a sort of a self. It's a pride in your own work type thing. I don't think it's a way of measuring yourself about against anyone else. But for me, if we get people up and jumping doing Born to Be Wild, yeah, cool, that's fun, But if we get everyone up and jumping doing Same Old Mistakes, our song, it's like, oh yeah, whoa, this is cool. Guys, are you seeing this? Sort of that's
Right.
the moment.
I think that's true in most places. And the fact that you are coming from Malta, they got to expect new. And I just want to mention quickly for fun that you just mentioned Born to Be Wild, and John Kay was one of my first interviews.
Wow, wow,
So that
far
so,
out.
so that was fun.
There you go.
So, what's your goals? What do you got coming? What do you want to happen next?
Well, so the plan for this year, obviously the most immediate thing that's about to happen is we're about to come over to Canada again. Like you said at the beginning, 5th June at Taps Brew House, 6th June at Gabby's Patio in Toronto, and then the 7th at the Orangeville Blues and Jazz. Very, very exciting. And obviously the morning of the 4th or the 5th, I think morning of the 5th on CHCH.
Right.
Um, I mean, we're really, really pumped for that. Like last night, I had my first sleepless night thinking about it.
Hmm.
The excitement started to set in, which is a bit ahead of time. I've got a couple of weeks of not sleeping now. Well done, body. Um, but yeah, that's the most pressing thing. Obviously, we just got the mixes for the second album, which is also super exciting. That we're looking at end of this year for a release. It's still sort of soft locked in because we can't really talk necessarily about here's the exact date. But we've got a date in mind that we're working on making happen. That's for sure. Now it's all the fun stuff in the lead up to that. So once we've got our masters done, it's about pressing vinyls. So you get your test press and all that, and then it's about the artwork and then the singles and what videos go out. Then it's all about the launch. When do we start advertising, venue, banners, this, that, the other? Just there's a lot of work, and that cycle of that. We're not exactly some huge, famous global band, but that cycle of work on your material, record it, release it, play it around the world. We've already seen a whole cycle of it now, and we're about to go into it again. It's a cool one to have for sure. It's cool to see
Right.
that pattern emerge, but it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a blinding amount of work.
Yeah, but I have to point out, or at least I'm sure you know this, but that's essential because I see too many really, really, really good bands doing the same pub club tour every year,
Yeah.
and they're traveling like crazy, but they're not getting back to the studio. They're not resting. They're not writing anything new. They're being booked in the same locations every time. And to me, that's a huge mistake. You guys sound like you got it going already.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really, really we're very proud of what we've achieved for sure. And you're right about everything you said, but two things really stood out to me. Getting back into the studio. Um, I mean, I don't think we could resist it. We love writing and recording together. It's actually a shame that we can record very quickly because we're a blues band. You
Mm.
set up the live room, go, and when we think we've got the take, which is usually 2, 3 takes in, we go, cool, move on to the next one. And for example, these 13 songs we got done in 2.5 days. Like it was blisteringly fast. Obviously, because we'd rehearsed weeks in advance so that we don't take up studio time in
Mm.
mistakes. But we almost didn't get to enjoy the experience of getting away from it all. And the studio we go to has a lovely little guest house that we rent while we work there. So you're in the middle of nowhere. It's just sea and green around you. You wake up in the morning, you have a coffee together, you hop in the studio and rinse and repeat. And I wish we got to do that for 2 weeks, but you know, so that's the first thing. We love recording, so we're always going to find ourselves back in the studio. And the other thing that stood out that no one talks about was rest.
Hmm.
Absolutely essential. And I've a friend of mine told me once I was burning myself out about something I really love doing, right? Well, about the music, right? I was doing everything and saying yes to every project, and he's like, why you just do everything? I said, because I love doing it. And he said, yeah, but you're not getting any rest. You're not, repairing. And I said, yeah, because I want to do this thing. And he said, yeah, but if your music is a result of you, surely it's a result of you being healthy. You know,
Mm.
you have first you, then the music. Even if you love the music more than anything else, first you. And that was one of the best pieces of advice ever.
Yeah. And, and that's what I mentioned. Like I said, I've seen some bands that are so
Yeah.
good, but just burning themselves out, and it's sad. And that has to do sometimes with the promoter or the publicist, So, but you sound like you got it all together already. Let's hope you do. Um, so we've got about a minute and a half left here. I just want
Wow.
to mention again that you're in Niagara Falls, which on June 5th. And again, it's in support of autism, which is fantastic. Good for you guys. And hopefully it'll grow into more. Will you have any opportunity to do a little me time here? Some tourist stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. When we were around Niagara last time, we had some really beautiful moments. We walked around the falls. We actually did a helicopter tour over the falls,
Mm.
which is just breathtaking. It goes without saying. Yeah, we'll make sure to take some time. Well, I'm very excited for Tim Hortons. I'm a sucker for the honey crawlers. Man, oh my God. I must have ate 30 when I was there last year.
Yeah, they're not good for you.
No.
All right, we got less than a minute, so I'll say thank you so much for doing this, and I will see you in Niagara Falls.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for having me on the program. Really good stuff.
You're welcome, and take care.
Fantastic. You too, mate.